there. What's your name?
Sabrina.
Sabrina. What brings you out today?
Because I am fighting for the protection of our Mother Earth and our water.
Cool. And
fighting against, the pipeline.
okay.
Yeah.
And what would you say to people who don't really understand the situation right now? Like, what's the takeaway of these protests?
I think this is a movement that we need to get started to get this well known, because these treaties that they broke, they've been breaking treaties ever since. We're still fighting for our land, We're still, fighting. We're still here. They took out like 90% of our population, and they need to be known about this.
Okay.
Because that's what this says. Miniwi Chone. That means water is life. Maka awayankape. That means look after the earth. We all need to. If we want to keep this earth alive.
So one question that I had, because I'm just not totally aware of this, is the pipeline itself on the tribal land, or is it does go through the tribal land?
It runs through Standing Rock Reservation, and then if the pipeline were to break, then the oil would contaminate all of the Missouri River.
Okay.
It runs down, through the whole U.S.
Right.
So that's what it would contaminate.
So I'm guessing they're saying it's not a risk, but the people that live downstream of the site, they think it is a risk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going to happen if the courts decide that they're justified to build the pipeline? Is this going to go on indefinitely until they just shut down the project?
I think so.
Yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah. Because I don't think we're going to stop. There's movements all over.
And is this just against pipelines in general because they can reach the water?
This is against, because what they're doing is wrong. Because they didn't have the permission to go through our land.
Right.
Those are ancestral burial grounds that were ours, that were given to us by the government.
Right.
And they were just very little slivers of land, and they want to take that back and put a pipeline in it,
Yeah.
So that's why we're all here.
I guess I had just seen that part of the reasoning for the pipeline is pipelines are supposed to be safer than trucks and trains, but I also feel like if a train or a truck wrecks, that oil is not going to go into the river necessarily.
It's going to go all over.
Right.
Wherever it is.
So it seems like a complicated issue to me because we use oil and what are we going to do about it? But I thought I'd come see what people are doing, and thanks for sharing your voice. I appreciate it.
You too.
Hi there. What's your name?
Diane.
Diane. My name's Alonso, and I'm doing just a few interviews with people out here. And can you tell me what brought you out to this protest today?
Well, I have obligations here for school and to the Navajo Nation. I sit on the advisory council and the president, and I would rather be there than standing.
Okay, so this is more you have a duty to be here.
Yeah.
But do you believe in the cause?
Yes, I do.
What would you say is the main goal of the protest?
To stop the pipeline and to protect the waters and for our future generations.
Okay, and so what do you think is going to happen if the courts rule in favor of the pipeline?
They'll destroy the future. It'll destroy our people, and not only our people, but it'll destroy the water, the drinking water. And they're now destroying our sacred sites.
I did see that in the news that they were bulldozing some sacred sites, almost in spite, is what it sounded like. So do you think these protests are going to continue if they rule against the protesters?
I don't see it as protesting. I see it as bringing light, bringing word out, and highlighting.
Right, but if the court says it's okay to build the pipeline, then they'll have the cops on their side at that point, and it will be a protest because you'll be shutting down their operation. Do you think this will just go forever? Is that the hope?
Getting the word out to protect?
Yeah, well, I mean, do you think these protests will go until they just decide to not build the pipeline?
We have been trying to get our side of the story out for as long as we've been alive.
Yeah.
As long as we have been here, we've never had our side of the story heard, and we are now getting out there, and it's a different generation. have different outlets now.
Okay.
So we have a different way, a different outlet.
Okay. Well, I wanted to...
We're going to continue to try. We are going to continue to fight for our ancestors, for our future generations, for life, not only for ourselves, but for all people.
Okay. So, I guess I wanted to interview people to try to help people get their voices out there. So, what would you say to people who maybe are totally ignorant to the situation? If you had to, you know, make a plea to the average American who might stumble on this video.
Well, I would encourage them to look into what it means, what we're doing as the Dakota Access Pipeline, and to really truly understand and to look at it from our perspective, and to look back into our history, and to not recall the American history, and just kind of look back and to remember who really taught those stories. Because our side of the story wasn't written by us. Those American history stories are written by the other side. It wasn't written by us.
Okay.
Yeah, our fight has been going on forever. And we're going to continue to fight.
Okay, that's good. And I'm assuming you're behind what they've been talking about, nonviolence, and that's the way.
Yes, because we have always been a peaceful people, but you know, I was in the military for 13 years, and I did join to protect, and that's why I have this, it's protective, because that's within us, and I am a warrior, and that's our instinct. We are going to protect what we believe we need to protect, and it wasn't only just for my people, it's, you know, for the nation, for not only the Navajo Nation, but also for the United States. And I think that's something that we as Native people, we see it as like always trying to take care of everybody else. And we're going to do that.
So just your personal opinion, would it be better if they just stuck to the trains and trucks for transporting the oil, or is it the oil itself that's the problem?
I think it's all of it. I think it's the transport of it, getting into going through the water line, and I guess it's going through the water line.
Right.
If they stuck to the transportation of the vehicles, it would be a lot better.
Yeah, because that's the argument that I've heard, is that the pipes are supposed to be more reliable and safer than the trucks and the trains, but it seems like if a pipe leaks, it goes into the water, where a truck isn't necessarily going to contaminate the river or something.
Yeah,
so
it's the land and the river that we're most concerned about, the water.
Okay. Well, thanks for your interview. Is there any parting words?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Hi there, my name's Alonso Q. What's your name?
Roberta.
Roberta? Nice to meet you. What brings you out to the protest today?
Well, I'm here to stand in solidarity with our Indigenous brothers and sisters from the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation, but really not only for Native people, but for all people, because this issue affects all humans that need water to survive. This is a human issue. We need to stop our dependence on fossil fuels and look for more sustainable solutions for our future, not just for us, but for our children. And people need to realize that. So this is not just a Native issue, it's a human issue.
Okay.
And that's why I'm here today.
It's about protecting the water, from what I gather.
Protecting the water, protecting our natural resources, giving, like I said, our lowering our dependence on fossil fuels.
So, what do you think's going to happen if the courts rule in favor of the pipeline and they want people to disperse?
Well, we just heard that the governor of North Dakota just called in the National Guard on the peaceful camp. So we're not sure what's going to happen in those terms, but if the court rules against the people, we're still going to fight. Because we've been fighting for over 500 years for our Indigenous rights and our land, and so I don't think that's going to stop us.
So would would you say that if that's the case, protesters will stay there indefinitely and just try to shut down the project altogether?
As far as I know, people are already preparing to be there through the winter.
Okay. So, in your personal opinion, because I get that the goal would be to reduce our dependence on oil, but right now when we really are dependent on oil, it's coming from somewhere. Do you think we should just stick to the trains and the trucks, even though they might have more spills than a pipe? They don't generally spill into a river, which I think is the concern of the pipeline, right?
Right, that is a concern. I guess I would say trains or by vehicle, but again, I'm just for more sustainable solutions. Yeah, no pipelines. There already are so many in this country that have burst. Just Yellowstone. We have mining in New Mexico, the Adamas River, that polluted the water there. We got uranium from the Navajo Reservation that's affecting their drinking water. So it's all over.
Right.
We just need to find a better way.
Okay, so do you think this will extend into like pipeline protests whenever they try to build new pipelines?
I believe so, because this pipeline is not even going to be beneficial for the United States. It's being pumped out of Canada to go to the Gulf of Mexico to be distributed everywhere else.
Right.
And it's affecting Americans, especially indigenous people. It's going to affect drinking water downstream for 18 million people. So people really need to get on top of this and do what they can to stand up.
So what would you say to people who are maybe a little bit skeptical of the protests, or people who don't understand the situation, maybe like the average American?
I would say educate yourself about these things. There's so much information out there now that you should really educate yourself and find out what's really going on, because there's a total media blackout right now. And I would say the internet is the best way to find out more about these issues.
Okay, and now one thing I did notice is that on the pro-protesters, they would link on their websites, they tend to show examples of where there's been leaks in the past and why that's a concern, and a lot of the other people aren't talking about that. Is there a website that people should go to really get a better idea? Because it seems like when I looked it up online, because I didn't know too much about this, I was trying to educate myself on it, and it seems like a lot of the mainstream media is putting the pipeline guys in the right legally, and I don't think they're emphasizing the fact that there are a bunch of pipeline spills. Is that the main thing?
That's the main thing, and a big part of that is because oil brings big money, and big money buys a lot of people and media and officials. So I think that's why it's being swept under the rug and nobody talks about it, except those who really care about it. And so there's, for the Standing Rock, there's the sacredcamp.org, there's respectourwater.com, and if you go to any of these hashtags, they have links that will give you some of that information.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Do you have any final words you want to say? Okay, thank you very much. Hi there. My name's Alonso. What's your name?
My name is Michelle Yasmin Curtis.
Okay, nice to meet you. And let's see your sign here. What brings you out to the protest today?
I'm out here to help this organization make more people aware of all environmental issues that are happening among the indigenous tribes all over the nation, the world.
Okay, so this is really an environmental protest, I guess you could say. Okay, and so the big thing is the pipeline.
Yep.
And the main concern is spillage, right?
Yes, spillage.
So what's your personal opinion on should they just stick to the trains and the trucks for transporting the oil? Would that be better than doing the pipeline? Because when I look it up online, because I didn't know too much about this, they say, the other side says the pipelines are safer than the trucks and the trains, and that those have more accidents. and that's why the pipeline's better. Personally, I don't know. I haven't done enough research, so it seems like a pipeline that could leak into the water supply where a truck, it can wreck anywhere and contaminate anything. So do you feel like the trucks and the trains are better, or is this just an anti-oil thing altogether?
Well, this is an anti-oil thing altogether because the main purpose is that these corporations are going onto native lands without any permission.
Right.
And then they started their construction for pipelines without any consent.
So one thing I was confused about, does the pipeline go through the native tribal land, or it's upstream of it?
It goes right through it.
Right through it.
And it also is going to invade their sacred graveyard.
Right, I did see that they were already bulldozing those.
So this whole thing is just, getting out of control, and I don't know if you heard or seen other YouTube videos about how they hired private security and they
with the dogs.
On women and children.
Yeah, those videos did not look good for the pipeline, and so that's honestly something that made me want to hear the protesters more, because when you see one side being nonviolent and the other side being violent, I think that's where these nonviolent protests really are useful in showing who has the moral stance. So, is there anything that you would say to people who maybe are ignorant on the subject, or maybe are skeptical about the protesters?
Well, the people who are ignorant about just think that you drink the water also. How would you feel if your water was contaminated with all these toxins?
Right.
I come from the Navajo Nation. We had the Gold King mine spill that went through the Four Corners. The Navajo Nation is trying to get justice on that because there are farmlands along that river. So that's where I'm so passionate about the Standing Rock, because I'm in the front lines on my reservation because of the Gold King mine spill.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely, you see these spills a lot, and actually they don't really get publicized. I've seen, whenever I've been trying to research this subject, it's taught me more about spills all across the country. Wait for a second.
Yeah, it's really loud.
What was I just gonna say? Okay, so what would you say is like a long-term solution to this problem? Because we do use a lot of oil. If we don't get it from North Dakota, we're gonna get it from Saudi Arabia, or some other place where they probably aren't respecting the environment over there, I would assume. So what's the long-term solution?
The solution is sustainability.
Yeah. Move towards renewable.
I mean, you can't just go on to indigenous land, any land, and not think of the long-term effects of it.
What would you think if there was more like profit sharing, I guess, or if they were able to lease the land to have a fund for if there was damage? Or is it really, if the oil spills, that's irreparable damage and the people are screwed, so we should just avoid this altogether?
Yeah, we should avoid it altogether. Look what happened in Flint, Michigan. All those people in that community got sick.
Right. And now they have to get their water bussed in. And what's going to happen to the city? Are they going to have to move? Or
Yeah.
So
this is a very, you got to think of a long-term effect of it. And the thing that makes us angry is that these corporations think that they can come onto the land and start their construction.
So you think property rights were violated in this thing?
Yeah, the treaty. We had a Fort Laramie treaty back in the 1700s where Native Americans were put on these reservations. That was our land. But according to these corporations nowadays, they don't care about that. So they completely broke the treaty.
Right. And the Constitution does say that treaties are the highest law of the land.
Yes.
So that really pulls me into your guys' side when I hear people talking about treaty violations or property rights violations. I think that's important. It was also affecting non-natives, right? Did I catch that right? That there's farmers who are upset about eminent domain too?
Yes. South Dakota, North Dakota, it's all farmland right there.
So they really just forced this pipeline on everybody in that region.
And it's along the Missouri River, so, it still happens.
Because I guess I see it framed a lot of times as like this is a native issue, but this is really about property rights and eminent domain for everybody along that region, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's important because I see it turning like racial, but it really seems like it's about water and environmental issues more than it's a race thing.
Well, it can go both ways.
Yeah.
So there's environmental racism where
So I did see something about that this morning. Do you think that they intentionally rerouted the pipeline so it would affect the tribal land more than the white communities?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, in South Dakota, they're one of the, more like a third world country there. So corporations are not going to care about their health. They're not going to give them health, oh my gosh.
Okay.
I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, it's okay. There's a lot of noise. It's easy to get distracted. So do you have anything that you'd like to say to anybody who might stumble on this video?
I like to say that water is life. You drink it. Think of if the toxins went to your water, how that would affect you. And think about Native Americans. They've been here forever and they're being treated terribly and they're being undermined. But we're strong to see that we're pulling together and our voices are getting louder and louder and that we'll overcome this.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for the interview, and I wish you guys good luck in your protest.
Thank you.
Thanks.